Me am Bizarro, Andy. Show over. Go home now. Hello. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. So glad to see you once again. And if you're new here, my apologies for Bizarro Andy. But welcome just the same. If you stumbled upon this video, I think it might be because you enjoy cartoons from the 90s just like me. And right now, we're going through a series talking about each and every episode of Superman, the animated series. So if this sounds like something you might enjoy, hop below and hit the subscribe button because I have new episodes coming out every Tuesday and Thursday. Go ahead and hop below and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss an episode like today as we talk about Bizarro's World, which originally aired on October 10th, 1997.
You don't know who you are, where you belong.
Well, Bizarro is back in this episode. He must have had a 2-episode deal in his contract. And I really enjoyed his appearance in Identity Crisis, but does this episode hold up? Well, you have to wait and find out after our 60-second rundown of the episode. See if I can give you a rundown of the episode in 60 seconds before the Brainiac bomb goes off. I think I might be able to do this one. So Brainiac is still alive, wondering who he is, where he should be. Lois Lane and Superman kind of feel sorry for him, and he goes to the ski lodge and overhears about the Fortress of Solitude. He goes there, hears it, goes down, frees the animals, asks Brainiac where he is and who he is, and Brainiac gives him a history of Krypton and tells him that it had been destroyed. So he goes to this park area, central buildings and stuff, and destroys a bunch of stuff to make it look like Krypton, and even kidnaps a doorman that looks like his father, and kidnaps Lois and says, hey, look, it's Krypton. And then wants to get a missile and blow it up, and Superman comes in, saves the day, and all is well. It's really kind of a basic story.
Who am me? Where am home?
For those of you that have been watching these videos for a while, you know that if I am able to get the synopsis of the episode out in 60 seconds or less, it usually does not bode well for the episode because there's just not a lot there. And that certainly is the case with this one. Bizarro's still an interesting character, and I like the way that this episode starts out, where he is kind of wandering around in the wilderness looking at who he is. And I like the realization that Superman has when he's talking to Lois about how similar they are. To imagine what it's like to wake up on this planet that's not yours and knowing that you're different and trying to figure out where you belong and where your home is. And that was kind of neat. And I like those moments for Bizarro.
He'd probably feel a lot like I did when I learned I wasn't human.
And again, Bizarro's one of those quote unquote villains, or the antagonist of this episode, I guess is probably a better way to put it, that's not trying to do any harm. And I think that in the first one, there was more of a battle between him and Superman because he thought he was Superman and Superman was obviously Superman. But in this one, that's kind of leveled out, and he's just trying to figure out where he belongs.
Then me am home.
And I think that you get to see evidence of, he has a kind heart. And when he goes to the Fortress of Solitude, that he sees all these animals or creatures or whatever they are, aliens, that he wants to free them, that they shouldn't be in prison, that they should be able to go free and shouldn't be held captive, which he has a good point. I mean, I get the Superman is trying to keep these species preserved and that, but maybe holding them in these cages and stuff isn't the best life for them.
Why am you locked up? Me bet you do nothing wrong.
But I do like when he does see the little creature that comes and attacks him, and he likes him and treats him like a dog, that he names that animal Crypto, which is a nice little tie-in to Crypto the super dog. Now we have Crypto the Bizarro creature.
Hey, you scare Crypto.
And then we get to see a little bit more of Bizarro's heart when he's listening to Brainiac talk about Krypton. And you get to see his face kind of light up when he's hearing these stories about this planet. And it is, we get to see another glimpse of it in these shots. They paint it as a very beautiful planet, the architecture of that. So he tries to recreate that here on Earth as an answer to
the planet Krypton, a majestic world of scientific achievement and prosperity.
So he tries to recreate that. And it's a really cool looking place. I don't blame him for wanting to create that kind of architecture. And again, not that that in itself is not a problem to want to create home. But of course, you can't do that by destroying other buildings and kidnapping people and putting them in this place. And then his twisted way of thinking in that, okay, now in order to create home, I need to destroy it.
Oh, Krypton pretty. So sad now it have to blow up.
And of course, once again, we've got to have Superman in the Superman suit. And once again, it has to get ripped open for him to be exposed to the kryptonite. But I do think that it is kind of interesting that the kryptonite does not work on Bizarro. So again, they introduced this whole element in there and it didn't even matter in the long run. Anyway, get rid of the suit. Let's just have Lex blow up Star Labs and get rid of all the suits.
The kryptonite didn't knock him out.
Our cell structures must be too different.
So when it comes time to rank this episode, there's really just not a lot there. It is Bizarro looking for a home and destroying a bunch of stuff, trying to recreate it, and Superman having to stop him. That's kind of the story. You know, Bizarro doesn't even have that much to do. He's kind of quirky, and it's just like an extension of the other episode. I would have liked to see a little bit more of a plot or more of a twist or more of a motive in what Bizarro's doing. I think it shows that Bizarro's not a character that stands on his own really well. He needs to be partnered with somebody. Like what they did with Rudy Jones as Parasite, teaming up with Livewire. I think bringing in another character to use Bizarro's strengths and abilities and creating a ruse around why he has to help them and playing it off like he is Superman so that he wants to help them and tell them that he's doing good by moving their motives forward or whatever. Something to that effect. But as a standalone character, it's just he's not smart enough to go against Superman, and he doesn't have a plan. He's just doing stuff, and Superman has to stop him. So for those reasons, it falls at the number 25 spot of my favorite episodes so far. Only because I think Target, now I realize, was a good stepping stone into the episode Solar Power. So still not a very interesting episode, not a lot that happens in that one. But the things that didn't make sense as to why they were happening are explained a little bit better moving forward. So it's a good stepping stone. I mean, it's still far down the list, but this one does fall below that. But it does beat out My Girl because Bizarro adds a whatever Slim, a more interesting element than Lana Lang or Lena Lang or Lana Lulu, whatever her name is, in My Girl.
But me forgive you.
So let me know, what's the deal with this episode? Do you agree with me that there just wasn't enough in there? Is there a better use of Bizarro as a character that they could have done in this episode to kind of tell the same sort of story without him being on his own? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this episode, please click the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my thoughts on this episode. If you want to see more content like this, just hit subscribe. I have new episodes coming out every Tuesday and Thursday. And next up, we have the episode The Hand of Fate. So you don't want to miss that. As always, I'm Andy Knode. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.